1.5 teaspoons of yeast. So here we go, we added yeast to this. So now we have all the dry ingredients together. We are going to add a little bit of salt. Just add a pinch of salt. I usually add a little bit of olive oil. Now you don't have to add any olive oil. What it does, it kind of makes it a little more tastier and it preserves the bread a little better for the next day. Probably 1 tablespoon would be sufficient. So that's it. Now we're going to add to this warm water, and like probably really lukewarm water. Nothing too hot or anything. So approximately I usually add 1.5 cups of water. Okay, so I have all the ingredients mixed together, and this is how it looks when you just pour the water in it, and I'll show you how to mix everything together. Just very nice and gentle strokes, nothing too harsh or heavy. Get a little bit more flour and just slowly just roll it gently in a little ball. So what do we do with this one now? We're going to let it rest and let it rise. Now, I usually make this a day before and let it rise overnight. So we're just gonna cover it so it doesn't get dry. Cover it with a towel. There you go, so it can breathe and rise. So I'm gonna set it aside. So I already have one that I kneaded actually yesterday. So it had a sufficient time to rise, and I wanted to show you how I put it on the pizza peel. This is a wonderful tool, kitchen tool to have. Because bread goes in here, and we let it rise for maybe another hour to 45 minutes. And in the meantime, we're going to preheat the oven, and the bread goes into the oven. Actually slicing, so it's very good. Because if you let it rise somewhere else and then you try to pick it up, the bread actually will fall. It's not going to be as risen as it's supposed to be. Flour here, and then I'm going to gently take my bread out. It's nice and soft. Sometimes you might want to add a little bit more flour. Now what I like to do, I kind of gently roll it underneath, and a little bit more flour if you need, just so it doesn't stick to your hands. You can see it's very soft and nice and gentle. I'm going to let it rise a little bit more, maybe 45 minutes. What I'm going to do is the oven for 150 degrees. Okay, so our bread is already risen. It's been around about 45 minutes. So I'm just gonna put my hands around it so I can glide it afterwards from this pizza peel. My oven is heating already for half an hour. I like it very hot, so it's been heating about half an hour to 45 minutes for 150 degrees. So I'm going to put this in the oven right now. And if you can see this, but it just glides from this pizza peel. That's why it's really nice to have. The other really important kitchen tool that you will need for making bread is actually a pizza stone. And you can see mine is pretty worn out. I have 2 of those. I have double oven, so I have 1 in each. And this has been in the oven since I bought it for a couple of years. You don't have to wash it actually. You don't really wash this thing. And this is where you make bread. Now this is a perfect surface. It gets really hot. I believe this is clay, but other pizza stones can be a combination of different stone material. So our bread is out. It's already cooked. So let's cut the bread and see how it turned out. bread right